The St. Petersburg Military Engineering Technical University, previously known as the St. Petersburg Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy, was established in 1810 under Alexander I. The university is situated in the former barracks of the Cavalier-Guard Regiment where the university was founded. Description: Military Engineering Technical University is a higher military educational institution preparing officers of engineering and building specialties for all branches of troops and navy. It is located in St. Petersburg where the university was founded, near Engineers Castle, Summer Garden, Suvorov Museum, Tauride Palace, and Smolny Convent. Military Engineering Technical University has 6 faculties preparing specialists in the following branches: military construction, military energy resource engineering, naval-based construction, sanitary engineering, mechanization of construction, special for civil. The university trains experts in the field of construction of buildings and special structures, engineering and technical systems and power industry. It has a modern experimental base for testing various thermal, mechanical and power equipment, structures and construction materials, and carries out research and development activities. It provides military university-trained officers for all the engineering troops of Russia, a counterpart of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, also possibly teaching of foreigners history. This is one of St. Petersburg's eldest higher military engineering schools, its history beginning in 1810. The St. Petersburg Military Engineering Technical University was founded as the St. Petersburg Military Engineering School in 1810 on the base of the Military School of Engineering Conductors. After addition of officers' classes and application of 5-year term of teaching, in 1819 was renamed as the Main Military Engineering School. How Stephen Timoshenko wrote in a book, Engineering Education in Russia, the system of higher learning institution of 5-year education of Main Military Engineering School was used later on the example of Institute of Railway Engineers by all Russia and develops until now. This engineering school was alma mater of graduate for Fyodor Dostoevsky. In 1855, officers' classes of the Nikolaevsky Engineering School was reformed as the Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy. After 1917, numerous transformations of Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy and Engineering School were undertaken. It was renamed as the Military Engineering Academy, and then as Military Technical Academy, but in 1932 followed the unsuccessful attempt of moving the engineering faculty to Moscow. It was completed later as the C faculty returned to Leningrad in 1939. Only Nikolai Gerasimovich Kuznetsov could counteract Joseph Stalin-S policy against the Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy and School in 1939. He ordered that the university be revived, and that the marine engineering faculty be returned from Moscow. The attempts at bureaucratic movings of the St. Petersburg High School of Military Engineers can be examined in the historical context of the military case and Great Purge, on the eve of war against fascism. Also, Stalin's dislike of Fyodor Dostoevsky was the reason of the unfavorable attitude against a university. There were destructive consequences of some degradation for the pedagogical and scientific forces of St. Petersburg High School of Military Engineers, but it was successfully corrected only due to the donor help of Petersburg Polytechnical Institute. Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy was formally and legally reborn in 1939 as the Higher Naval Engineering Construction School on the base of the Leningrad Industrial Construction Engineers Institute. and enlarged with the Sea Engineering faculty of the Moscow Military Academy. Higher Naval Engineering Construction School was renamed the Higher Naval Engineering Technical School. Leonid Kantorovich became the professor of Military Engineering Technical University, previously known as the Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy, when it was revived on the site of part of the Polytechnical Institute. Also, the academician Boris Galerkin took a general's uniform in 1939. As the head of VITU's Structural Mechanics Department became a lieutenant general. In September 1960, VITU University was called the Order of the Red Banner Higher Military Engineering School and became part of the construction troops. In 1974, the university was named after N. Komarovsky. In 1993, the university was reformed as the Military Engineering Technical Institute, which received its present-day name in 1997, after as did merger the Pushkin Higher Military Engineering Construction School. The Second World War. Military Engineering Technical University directly took part in World War II. The graduating students of the university fought heroically at all fronts of that war. They showed spiritual force and quality of engineering competence. The forts and numerous fortifications buildings was established by the graduating students of university. All of it played a vital part in defending. A unique Krasnaya Gorka fort was constructed by the graduating students of VITU at the beginning of the 20th century with the installation of 12-inch guns in concrete casemates. The system of forts played a key part in the siege of Leningrad. The VITU's graduating students by the commanders of Krasnaya Gorka fort did to finally stopped the offensive of fascists already in 1941. During the siege of Leningrad, Boris Galerkin was the head of the City Engineering Defense Department Experts Group. Also, he joined the Military Engineering Commission of the Academy of Sciences. Hard non-stop work was undermining his health. Not long after the victory, in July 1945, Galerkin died. Leonid Kantorovich was the professor of the VITU of the Navy, and he was in charge of safety on the road of life. For his feat and courage he was awarded the Order of the Patriotic War. All employees of the university were decorated with the Medal for Defense of Leningrad. In 1944, the university was the recipient of the Order of the Red Banner Award, and VITU's cadets participated in the historic Moscow Victory Parade of 1945. Traditions of St. Petersburg High School of Military Engineers. Military Engineering Technical University prolongs, saves and develops the scientific and pedagogical traditions of St. Petersburg High School of Military Engineers. The Nikolaevsky Engineering Academy and Nikolaevsky Engineering School, in the place of its own historical motherland. In present days, traditions about the unique quality of pedagogical qualification of professors and teachers are saved with punctilious care. Sir Leonid Artemanov, a Russian engineer, geographer and traveler, military advisor of Menelik II, was the example of tradition of university about harmonic association of spiritual force and engineering competence. The St. Ignatius Brian Chaninoff chose way of spiritual service. Dmitry Mendeleev was professor of chemistry at the St. Petersburg Military Engineering Technical University. Mendeleev got married at Nikolaev Engineering Technical University's church. So a Professor Alexei Shulyachenko, an engineer and chemist, known as the grandfather of the Russian cement, was his student. Also, Alexei Shulyachenko was able to become a professor for a future academician Boris Galerkin at the St. Petersburg Technological Institute. Alumni and faculty. In total, the university prepared more than 45,000 military engineers. Among its alumni and faculty are Leonid Artemanov, a Russian general, geographer and traveler, military advisor of Menelik II, as one of Russian officers of volunteers was attached to the forces of Rostesma. Alexander I.The, a Russian military pilot, engineer, aircraft designer, chief of the main airfield, first chief of Zhukovsky Air Force Engineering Academy. Konstantin Velichko, a Russian, Soviet general military engineer, professor of fortification and author of numerous fortifications projects, for example the Red Hill Fort. Boris Galerkin, a Russian, Soviet mathematician and engineer. Mikhail Glukharev, the chief engineer at Sikorsky Aircraft. Dmitry Grigorovich, a Russian writer. Fyodor Dostoevsky, a Russian writer and essayist. Alexander Dutov, a lieutenant general and one of the leaders of the Cossack counter-revolution. Dmitry Karbashev, a Red Army general and hero of the Soviet Union who was taken prisoner during World War II, tortured by the Nazis, and died on February 17, 1945, in the concentration camp in Mauthausen. Leonid Karpatsa was father for Nobel laureate Pyotr Karpatsa, a Russian general military engineer, oversaw Kronstadt's fort's construction. Konstantin von Kaufmann, the first governor-general of Russian Turkestan. Leonid Kantorovich, a winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics, a Russian mathematician and economist, known for his theory and development of techniques for the optimal allocation of resources. Roman Kondratenko, a Russian general famous for his steadfast defense of Port Arthur during the Russo-Japanese War. Alexander Sergeyevich Pechorin, a Russian military officer. Vladimir Korguzalov, a hero of the Soviet Union, chief of engineers, major of guard troops of 47th Army of Voronezh Front. Alexander Kvist, a Russian military engineer of fortification. Syakut Sayasway, an army officer and a teacher of fortifications, as well as a composer and music critic, known as a member of the Five, the group of Russian composers under the leadership of Mily Balakirev dedicated to the production of a specifically Russian type of music. Dmitry Dmitrievich Maksutov, a Russian, Soviet optical engineer and amateur astronomer. He is best known as the inventor of the Maksutov telescope. Alexander Lukomsky, a Russian military commander, general star, lieutenant general, who fought for the Imperial Russian Army during the First World War and was one of the organizers of the Volunteer Army during the Russian Civil War. Vladimir Mamaevsky, a Russian army general and one of the leaders of the counter-revolutionary White movement during the Russian Civil War. Dmitry Mendeleev, a Russian chemist and inventor, credited as the creator of the periodic table of elements. Boris Mozhev, a Russian writer and friend. Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Grand Duke Nicholas Nikolaevich of Russia. Mikhail Vasilyevich Ostrogradsky, a Russian mathematician, mechanician and physicist, who is considered to be a disciple of Leonhard Euler and one of the leading mathematicians of Imperial Russia. Nicholas Petin, a Red Army general, chief of engineers of Red Army. Alexei Polivanov, a Russian military figure. Ivan Sekhenov, a Russian physiologist, named by Ivan Pavlov as the father of Russian physiology, who authored Reflexes of the Brain, introducing electrophysiology and neurophysiology into laboratories and teaching of medicine. Alexei Shvart, a lieutenant general, governor of Odessa. Eduard Totleben, a military engineer and Imperial Russian Army general, who was in charge of fortification and sapping work during a number of important Russian military campaigns. Baron Peter von Uziar, a Russian general, engineer and linguist of German descent, known for his research of languages and ethnography of peoples of Caucasus. Pavel Yablotchkov, a Russian electrical engineer, the inventor of the Yablotchkov candle and a businessman. Chulyachenko Alexei Romanovich, a Russian engineer, general and chemist, known as the grandfather of the Russian cement. Golovin Mikhail Sergeyevich, a rector of St. Petersburg State Institute of Technology; Nestor Benitsky, a Russian engineer, professor of fortification and lieutenant general.